watching The Producer's Room, a streaming web series featuring the creators behind the hit songs of today's music industry. Songwriters, music producers, and artists discuss their creative process as well as examining current issues and technologies in today's rapidly changing music business. Your host is producer, songwriter, and educator Dave Tuff. Welcome to The Producer's Room.
Take the rain on the roof of this empty house. That don't bother me. I can take a few tears now and then and just let them out. I'm not afraid to cry every once in a while, even though going on with you gone still upsets me. There are days every now and again I pretend I'm okay, but that's not what gets me. What hurts the most.
All right, we have to turn it down there. The YouTube police will get a hold of us.
Yeah.
So the first thing I hear when I hear that track, of course, I remember when that came out, and it was such a fresh sound for country music even then. And it's kind of a track versus live. And well, just tell me how that track came about. Let's talk about that first.
First of all, that voice. I mean,
yes.
that's hard to. It just draws you in.
Yes.
Gary has such a gift. But the irony, the thing I remember a couple things about it that strike me as funny. I just started producing them, and we had done one track prior to this. We did a song called "Life Is a Highway" for a movie. So that was my first time sitting in the producer's chair. But this was going to be the beginning of the record. Mm-hmm. So a bit of pressure because they had really done some great stuff, and we went into the studio and out in Franklin, got to the studio, and it was a small section. Mm-hmm. Jay and Joe Don played, and I think I was going to play acoustic guitar. I remember doing that on that. Chris McHugh and Charlie Judge was there, right? Mm-hmm. So we sat there and we got the chart, and we kind of going over some ideas. And about 30, 45 minutes into the session, I said, "Hey, when does Gary show up?" Mm-hmm. And Jay said, he's not coming.
No scratch or anything?
I said, what?
Yeah.
He said, oh no, he's hunting. And I just thought, nobody told me that, So I'm sitting there trying to go, oh yeah, that's cool, let's go. What the heck?
Yeah.
I said, you guys got a key? No.
Oh.
And so I said, well, you got any idea, I didn't know Gary that well. And and Jay goes, about there, that's about the threshold of pain.
Yeah.
We figured a key, and so we tracked it. Gary wasn't around.
Really?
No, Gary, then he was hunting. He's a serious hunter. I mean, and I guess mid-November, that's sacred time for hunters. Uh-huh. So, he thought somebody else, I didn't know. Anyway, so we did that track, but that was the way that started. And I thought, oh, geez.
Wow.
But we obviously got a really good track, and I'll cut to the end, and then we can talk about the middle. Yeah. The end is the first time somebody said, I remember where I was at my house off of Granny White Pike, said they're going to play the new Rascal Flatts single. I got out and ran out to the car. I want to hear on the car radio. Turned it on, and all the subs were so low and loud in the beginning with the beatbox, right?
Yes.
And it was rattling my car, and I almost was going to throw up.
Wow.
I thought, I called up Justin Ebank, the mixing engineer. I said, what? Yeah. Why do we never, he said, Dan, that's what it was. I guess maybe we mixed it on near field monitor. I mean, supposedly we're pros, right? We never checked it on big speakers.
Huh.
It's just.
And the mastering guy didn't catch it either, right?
Well, no, but it was really good. It was just not done at that time.
And that's what I'm saying. It was a fresh sound for country music.
Yeah, but here's the joke. That wasn't intentional. That was just a byproduct of just.
Wow.
So, and I thought, well, I've just tanked these guys' career. No. Well, the irony is that it ends up being that thing, but that's the fun stuff about it, because so many things happen by mistakes,
Right,
by just,
right.
it always happens. You know, as long as you pay attention to, I mean, there's a lot of detail in that record. I'm very proud. I can hear all the little teeny brush strokes, but you're not bogged down with that. You feel a continuous flow, and your attention, your focus is on that melody
Sure.
and the rhythm. So that,
Well, it really builds. Even like you were talking about those tiny brush strokes, you start out with the acoustic lick, the bass doubles that lick the second time.
Yeah.
And then to me, it has a lot of R&B elements, which is partly the songwriting, but also so that probably was a crossover. I mean, I didn't look at the data from the charts or anything, but I could see that being a definite crossover with that new sound in it. And so when you decide sig licks and all that, you know, that had a fiddle at the top. You know, all that stuff. Are you thinking of that in your head? Do you just hear the sounds as the producer and decide what instrumentation? Or
that usually that comes up. We didn't track with all those musicians,
right.
so no, it was just mainly getting the feel right, and the you know, a lot of the basic licks were in that acoustic guitar part.
Yeah.
And we just made sure that we got enough of those. And then as we developed the song, it was just getting in the studio with Paul Franklin and dealing with that. I think that was Jonathan Yudkin on fiddle.
Okay.
So it would just be different sessions, and we would just try things for hours upon hours, and you know, find ways that hooks kind of overlap with each other. And there's a lot of I think Jonathan, the fiddle player, played banjo on that too.
Yeah.
And so it just
let's just listen to just a hair more. Maybe you can give some commentary. You know how they used to do on that that Mystery Science 3000 show where they'd sit in front of the screen and give some commentary. But maybe just tell us how.
I was looking for that. Yeah, trying for the secondary, the main melody that Jonathan was playing with fiddle, obviously, but trying to find that kind of California steel sound with Paul. That was I remember, and then use Paul for a lot of stuff that synthesizer would do, like what they call risers now. You know, we work really long and hard on choreographing those slides and how they make you feel. Learned a lot of that from Mutt Lange. I will say, nothing's original to me.
There's your low end, right?
Yeah. And Chris McHugh's, you know, just a great drummer.
Now, I don't know what key this is in, but even the bass is pretty heavy. It's in the lower.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty muscular record for the time, but clean.
Yeah, clean.
There's a lot of sub-melodies going. There's always a melody going on.
Yeah.
To me, another thing that I really learned off the years of working with Mutt Lange.
Yeah.
Phrasing on the back end of everything. Vocals to everything. The way you hold things out and let off. Everything is intentional, so everything feels kind of like slow motion.
Right.
I learned. I was captivated with the way his records felt, and so when you're coming with a part, the way you end the part, the way you cut off, that always to me adds to the musicality of it.
Right. Right.
And I can hear. We worked really hard on a lot of those things. You don't hear it other than the net effect of it. Kind of has that kind of thing.
Right.
And it sounds, even at a low volume, it sounds pretty massive. You know.
Now, were you one of the first to use the joke? The Nashville joke is the what's the sequencer called in Nashville? The banjo, right? But I like that. But was that? I don't remember hearing it a lot. I mean, obviously you heard like bluegrass picking, but that kind of
Keith really was the one who got that.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of it's sequencing. It is. It's just you could keep it going without it taking too much space.
Yeah, but it propels it forward. Yeah.
And then
now, is this you?
No, that's Joe Don.
Okay.
Joe Don's a great guitar player. We worked very hard with the melodies, and this. You know, all that kind of stuff where it just feels like it's tugging at you. That's the stuff like from a musician's.
Oh, that's your riser, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. It's just, it's to me, it's kind of the equivalent of before we had sequencers. When you have to do it from a human place, it has a different thing.
Right.
Now we just put, a little sample.
Yeah.
But we had to work hard at all that stuff. So all those details in that, the last bar of that solo, he probably played that 50 times.
Right.
We're just looking for that right one where the sound, the distortion, everything kind of had that magic moment.
Right.
And just waiting for it to, that magic to kind of be there.
Yeah.
It's tedious work, I mean, you know, even that little outro with Paul sit there and play that little outro on the steel guitar for an hour and a half.
Wow.
Just
Wow.
to get the right moments, you know?
Yeah.
Not that everything has to take that long.
Yeah.
But that's where the fun in producing records
Yeah.
is.
Okay. At what age did you learn that Santa wasn't real?
Boy.
Or do you still?
Pretty young. Pretty young. I had some
Okay.
pretty wise cousins
Okay.
who let me in on this
Okay.
on the subject, and I was not pleased, let me tell you that.
Oh, man. Your favorite chord?
My favorite chord. What do I jam over? E minor.
E minor.
Yeah, it's the easiest one because most of the strings work, right?
That's the second, your second saddest chord,
Yes.
right, of all time. Your favorite radio station, either in the past or now?
Oh, two.
Two, okay.
KLOS when Mark and Brian were
Okay,
doing it, and
okay.
and that's selfish because they broke our band giant. So we had a
Oh,
thing
wow.
with them. They were phenomenal, and I loved. I mean, you know, this sounds like I'm dismissing it now. I'm not dismissing it. I'm a big fan and friend of Jerry House.
Okay,
and,
cool.
And there's something a real.
Yeah.
You know, again,
He's
Bobby
been doing
Bones is
it.
great. Nothing
Legend,
against
yeah.
Bobby Bones.
He's
It's
been doing it
phenomenal.
for-
Calling out Bobby Bones. Jerry House, though. It just
Wow.
yeah. So
Okay. Do you own a lava lamp?
no.
Okay, good. You've moved on. If you were a wrestler, what would your stage name be?
Oh God. Scrawny.
Okay.
Scrawny boy, yeah.
You got some muscle. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last question I always ask all the guests is, if the world was ending, you know, you got 5-10 minutes left in the world, what song would you want to hear?
I wouldn't be listening to a song.
Well, that's a good answer. I'm just trying to ask you one other piece of business advice. If, let's see, business advice. Oh, yes. One piece of business. What's that noise back there? House of David Studios.
If I'm not mistaken, that's my son is signaling me that his dad has been talking
That
too
looks
long.
like a younger version of Dan Huff out there rocking the drum set. All right, guys, we're going to go into the studio. The next segment's going to feature Elliot Huff, Dan's son, and they're going to do a father-son discussion. We're looking forward to it. See you in a minute. All right, welcome back to the last segment of the Producer's Room. I want to thank Dan Huff for being here today. And guess what? We also have Elliot Huff here, so welcome. And in fact, I have to shake your hand. This is how it works, man.
Yeah, dude.
We've met before, right?
Yeah, we're met.
Cool. So I thought this would be a fun experience to talk about father-son kind of stuff in the music business and all that. So my first question is, how did you guys actually first meet? No, you're related, aren't you? Wow. Speaking of creativity, right? Yeah. So, okay, Dan, I'm going to ask you a question, but I also want to know how this statement applies to Elliot. So how has the music business changed in the last 10 years? And then because of that, what type of advice are you giving Elliots? And Elliots, you're a drummer, right? Musician, drummer, and all that.
I have to add, a great musician,
Great
drummer. But yeah, he humbles me. I was a quick starter, but he's got more
That
going on than I
natural-
did. So yeah,
natural instinct and natural.
The only thing I have is experience at this point. And I do still control the purse strings to a certain degree. So there is a certain amount of power that I like to wield. Right?
Oh, man. So even since you've been in Nashville, how's the business changed? And then what skill sets does someone his age or, you know, things he needs to focus on in the business right now as an emerging, you know, musician and artist and all of that? Can you tie all that into a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than the fact that we don't sell records anymore. So
Yeah, well, that's one thing.
No, you know, certainly the shift
Yeah.
has gone to live. There's
Right,
no doubt
right,
about it. I mean, music still needs to be created and recorded, obviously, but the way it plays in for Elliot, two-prong attack.
Mm-hmm.
He's a live musician. He loves
Right.
it, so it's going to work well in his favor. The best advice I give to him is to be multifaceted.
Right.
To know a lot of different music, and because you know if you want to work in this business, I mean,
Yes.
music is sacred in the sense that you don't have to make your income from it for it to be sacred.
Maybe a hobby, and yeah.
He probably wants to. I'm
Yeah.
assuming so.
Yes.
So the advice is very paternal. It's like what any father would tell his son: get education, you know, just get knowledge, but he's lucky in the fact that his old man is a musician. So wherever it takes him, you know, just follow it and learn as much as you can.
Cool. cool. Do you agree with that advice?
Oh my gosh, yes. No, I mean that is that it does switch to live
he's going to
music.
agree right here because he's sitting with me. If you really want answers, I should go in the other room.
Right. Oh, there's Buddy, our guest dog. Hey, Buddy.
Hey, Buddy.
All right, guys, this is Buddy. He's our assistant engineer for this project. Can we get a shot of Buddy down there?
Buddy.
Aw, he's
There's
our
all
guest
the audio.
dog.
He's just coming up here to check on the audio
All right,
levels.
cool. I think that was Buddy sneezing a minute ago too. So,
It's funny. I will. Can I add one more thing?
Yeah,
you didn't
go
ask
for
me
it.
this question.
Yeah. No, I want to hear as
This
much.
is this is what I love about having, and you jump in anytime you want. But
Yeah, what's it?
but it's having a obviously it's my son, so I love him because he's my son. But also having somebody who has an emerging and very complex musical identity. I'm feeding off of him now because I listen through his ears, and he's pulling me into some stuff that I would not.
That's great. That's cool.
Be at all exposed to.
Yeah.
But he's also letting me expose him to some stuff that was a part of the core of my. So it's really we have a good time, right?
Wow.
Because that was the real stuff.
Well,
no, I mean that though. Seriously. It was
Oh,
the
this
real-
is something.
It's a good.
It's a bonding moment.
It is. Yeah, we don't hunt. So
So Elliot, from the other perspective, just growing up, watching your dad work, is there anything that he never told you, but he kind of taught you by watching him work in the studio or work with artists?
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
There is one specific time that I can remember. It was at Starstruck,
Yeah.
and this is just going off the basis of being kind and letting other musicians, not tearing them down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though you have to instruct and say, this is you don't do this. I want you to do it this way, but it's the way you do it.
The encouragement.
The encouragement.
Yeah.
And even when someone's like does this, like, hey, you got this. You're like, I'm so sorry, but like it's got to be this way. But that was freaking awesome too.
Yeah.
Reba
That's great.
McEntire, I was at Starstruck,
Uh-huh.
and she pulled me aside and was like, the way your dad produces, it is just something else. He
Wow.
commands the room in such a sweet and nice way, but commanding as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, there
that's
you
your
go,
answer.
man. And that's awesome.
you.
And so, okay, next question. And so you're a student at Belmont right now.
Yes.
So what made you choose Belmont to go to as opposed to somewhere like Berkeley or NYU or?
Well, honestly, I love Nashville. This
Yeah.
is where I always live.
Yeah.
I want to be around, because Berkeley, that's specialization. In
Right,
that stuff.
right.
It's all about this.
Yeah.
I know what I want to do.
Uh-huh.
There's people. Oh God, there's so many people in this town that do the same thing. I went to UTC and I left after the first semester because nothing embodied what I want to do. When I'm at Belmont, I see musicians everywhere singing, listening to iPods. Man, there's not one person that you don't see
Not
walking
involved with music in some form or fashion. Yeah.
So it inspires me more than
cool.
anything. So
That's cool. And so, and you were just talking about his influences rubbing off on you, which I think is really cool. So, Elliot, I was just asking you if you had to pick a style of music or a band that you could see yourself playing with in the future, like really what do you gravitate towards? What styles of music?
tech metal.
All right.
Prog metal, and there's a band specifically called Periphery.
Yeah.
Now, specifically, I don't care for the screaming.
Yeah.
That doesn't get me.
Yeah.
I really don't mind. It's the technicality,
Sure.
the time signatures, and the switch between maybe some ambient melodic parts into breakdowns.
Wow,
that just
man.
make you.
See, I
That's
got to
what I
check
get.
that band out because I haven't
it's-
heard too much of them.
It just hits me.
Time signature.
Hold on,
I
baby.
mean, there can be times where it goes 3/4, 7/8, twice, 4/4, 3/4, 7/8, done.
Right.
Repeat
And
the-
is that
repeat
just
the same.
felt, or do you have to write charts out for that, or you just feel?
I always just
Yeah.
memorize.
Wow.
I've never written out anything actually.
Right.
Now that I think about it.
So I was asking you, and this is a funny question.
Yeah.
I said, if any productions or songs that your dad has worked on, either in his LA life or his Nashville life, that you dig? Anything?
Can't get close enough.
All right.
Sorry. I had to.
This is the evil
I had
of
to.
the internet.
This
This
is-
new
We're picking on you,
generation.
man.
It's for Giant. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
get close
yeah.
enough. God, dude.
Good. What do you think about those lead vocals? Hey, buddy. I thought it was pretty good actually when I listened to it. I thought,
No, it's
this
awesome.
guy can play guitar and
I mean,
sing.
exactly. Time to burn, and I can't get close enough.
Wow, that's cool, man. And so, do you you guys' musical lineage, like you were talking about your father, you, and now your uncles, and then you. Did you feel a pressure to become a musician, or was it just something that you gravitated
never
towards?
Pressure to become a musician.
Yeah.
Pressure to succeed.
Right.
That's what
horrible though.
you can't help it when you see so many people.
Right.
It's just the way it is. You don't have to say anything. You could say to not feel that way until you're blue in the face. It's just a feeling that comes no matter what.
I hate that for you, but
No, it's.
I felt that with my dad too, so I get it.
You understand?
I know, I
Well, there we
understand.
go.
I get it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've overcome that at probably the age of 16 to 17 when I started playing demo sessions.
Yeah.
And I started to really feel
But
it.
it seems like you have your own thing. It's not like you're trying to succeed on your own terms, which I think is a whole nother important thing, you know? Like you're doing your thing, whatever you love, and I think that's great. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up, and we're going to, well, actually, I want to ask Dan, a couple mistakes. Can you think of a couple mistakes you made in the past business-wise that you would encourage others not to do, either creatively or from a business standpoint? And this could be either advice you're giving to Elliot once again, or that's just anyone that's starting out in the business, that mistakes that you think others should avoid, like where you've kind of learned from them.
Read the contract.
Read the contract.
Well, more specifically, have somebody that knows how to read contracts.
Okay, that's good.
I learned young. You know, we all get burned one good time.
Right.
That, you know, creatively, no, I don't think that you make mistakes.
Right.
I think it's search when you're young. Is don't make money a priority.
Right.
Not certainly in the creative realm. If you need money, earn it some other way, so that you never have to hinge your ability to do a gig on the money.
Right.
You need to do the gig because the gig is important to you. So don't make it about money at first. I think there's a balance. You know, in college, I think this music business stuff is great as long as you can balance that with the idea that, you know, you don't want to get ripped off, but opportunities are what's more important when you're young.
Yeah,
you
I
need
think
to
that's
have the
great.
opportunity. So that's just the normal stuff, you know.
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, and I had one more, and I forgot. Oh yes, so any other embarrassing or funny things about your dad that the public might not know that are fit for television?
No.
Not anything about him, you know, walking in the yard in his underwear or anything like that.
That's normal.
God, hold on, man.
There's nothing he can bear.
Any other funny stories you got?
Wow, you should have told me this before we started this
You can think
interview.
about it. We can always cut back, or you know, if you don't have anything, that's fine. But
I'm pretty edited.
oh,
you know, it's
anything?
like-
Okay, so anything we don't know about him, like you know, he loves this particular type of food, or anything that may not.
I got it, dude. When he eats sushi and he gets too much wasabi, I have never seen a face so red. Steam's coming out of the ears.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I find that hilarious,
I
dude.
think that's good. I think that's a good place to end. So once again,
The eyesight is really funny too.
we're gonna on our
No, watching your dad get old, it's fun, isn't it, Elliot?
anyway. So we're gonna feature you on the outro playing some drums. Is that cool with you?
Absolutely.
All right, because I want to showcase those skills. And thanks so much, guys. Thanks again, Dan, for being here. Thank you, Elliot.
Of course.
I'll see you guys again, hopefully, here on Music Row.
I'll hold that for you.
Thank you.
We're going to feature Elliot. Once again, thank you for watching this episode of The Producer's Room, and we'll see you next time.